message to Florida Republicans is F around and find out. If they go down the road of a DeSantis dummy-mander, the Florida Republicans are going to find themselves in the same situation as Texas Republicans.
Oh, Florida can't do, we're going to go after Florida. Please be my guest. I will pay for you to come down to Florida and campaign. I'll put you up in the Florida governor's mansion. We'll take you fishing.
Yeah, go to Clearwater. It's going to be great. I love that this is happening. So Hakeem has not responded to that very generous offer from Governor Ron DeSantis there after what just happened in Virginia on Tuesday. Totally ridiculous. Redistricting there passed, meaning instead of a 6-5 split in favor of Democrats in Congress from Virginia, the split will now be 10-1 in favor of Democrats who say this is fair. The state Supreme Court is going to weigh in on this in Virginia on Monday. And then on Tuesday, the next day, Florida lawmakers are going to meet in Tallahassee to talk about a new redistricting plan there that would go into effect before the midterms to re-level the playing field. Congressman Byron Donalds is a representative from Florida. He's the leading candidate for governor in Florida. Congressman, good to have you back. You've said you support the plan. Republicans currently, out of the 28 congressional districts, 20 are held by Republicans in Florida. Do you expect this redistricting plan in Florida to move forward? And if so, does it happen before the midterms?
First, I do expect it to move forward. I support the governor and what he's going to try to accomplish. And I think it's going to move forward sometime over the next week or so in our state. This is something, obviously, Governor DeSantis has been watching for quite some time. And let's be very clear, Florida has always done a great job making sure that we represent the communities, all the various communities of Florida. We're going to continue to do that. But our state has also grown pretty rapidly, and we want to make sure that the ethos of our state is being reflective in our districts and being represented in Washington, D.C. And so I expect the governor to move forward. I fully support it. We'll see what they come out with next week.
Yeah, and we should just say Florida has not been redistricted, certainly not like the state of Virginia. How many seats could Republicans pick up if they do redraw the map out of those 8 that are currently held by Democrats?
That remains to be seen. I mean, some estimates call for 3 or 4. We'll see what the governor actually and the legislature come up with. And I think that's going to happen pretty quickly here. I think the one thing is that I will say is that the governor has had an approach to make sure that those congressional districts in Florida are very representative of the political dynamics and the political framework of Florida. And I think he's going to continue to do that.
Yeah, and you're right. Florida, number 2 in the country by population growth, last 5 years in a row. I want to move on and ask you about situation happening in Congress. There's been a lot of change on Capitol Hill with your colleagues. Here are both Nancy Mace and Lauren Boebert, so Republican members of Congress, talking about Corey Mills, also a Republican member of Congress, also from Florida. Take a listen.
I mean, you're beating women. I don't think that you should be a representative in Congress. You have temporary restraining orders. You have body cam footage of stories changing. I don't know. So we'll see if the vote comes up.
There have been multiple reports with receipts, with information, with data, photos, videos, body cam, DD-214s, all of that, and none of it adds up. There has to be a standard. Everyone has to be held to the same standard.
Okay, so, Congressman, 3 members of Congress have resigned: Eric Swalwell, Tony Gonzalez, Sherfilis McCormick, Nancy Mace, as you just heard, filed a resolution this week to expel Congressman Corey Mills, a Republican, citing multiple allegations, and I just want to go through them. February 2025, police were called to the Mills home after a 27-year-old woman reported an alleged assault. October 2025, Mills was hit with a restraining order from an ex-girlfriend accusing him of harassment and assault. Since 2023, Mills-owned companies have secured close to $1 million in federal contracts. So how do you square with that? How does he stay in Congress right now with all of that hanging over his head?
Well, let's be clear on this. One, the allegations are damning, very concerning. Representative Mace brought an expulsion resolution about 2 months ago on this matter, and it was actually referred to the Ethics Committee. And so now Congressman Mills is in front of the Ethics Committee. That report is yet to come out. And I think where this is on a similar track with former Representative Sherfilis McCormick is that she was in front of the Ethics Committee. They had an open hearing on the findings. And then after about another week or so, she decided to resign. I think what needs to happen here is that the Ethics Committee has to come forward with their report, so that in that way, whether Representative Mills or any other member had an ability to have their due process heard on these matters, that report comes forward. And then if it goes to a resolution on the floor, then the members have all of the findings from an investigative body, not just from another member of Congress. I think that is actually the standard how we adjudicate these things.
But you would
And so we'll
support
see
a
how
vote to
it goes.
expel if it came to that?
If it came to that, yeah, very likely. But we got to make sure you go through the due process parts of this first.
Okay, George Santos, who always says he didn't get the due process that he deserved from Congress, has been raising questions about Ilhan Omar, who he tweeted just today the different things that he thinks she could be prosecuted for: lying on her financial disclosures to Congress, immigration fraud, wire fraud, theft of public funds, money laundering, conspiracy to defraud the American people, treason. Again, that's his opinion. But why hasn't Congress held a vote to get rid of that member of Congress yet, Ilhan Omar? Why is this so complicated?
Well, look, again, when you have these allegations, this is something where you do have to go through a due process. And I know some people would say, oh, but you're talking about the Ethics Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ethics Committee is not some lounge in a back room. You have to hire attorneys. There's full discovery that goes through all of your information. This is not something any member of Congress wants to be going through. It's not a simple process. What happened to Representative Santos was wrong. I did not support that. I thought it was wrong to bring it. And I think whether you're talking about Ilhan or Representative Mills or any other member, there is a responsibility for them to be able to go through the Ethics Committee and have that report come forward so we have all the facts.
I just think that people would like to see action. I understand it can take time, but what if Republicans aren't in power after the November elections in Congress? Ilhan Omar is going to get away with this. She's going to get away with it, and I think people don't want to see that happen. And just a couple years ago, to your point, you didn't support it, but more than 100 Republicans voted to expel George Santos, and now he's gone, and he went to jail.
Listen,
and he was pardoned by Donald Trump.
And when it comes to Republicans who try to make these knee-jerk reactions, I don't support that. Listen, I know there's a major frustration. The American people want to see action, but there is due process that has to be protected.
Congressman, good to have you on tonight. We appreciate it. Byron Donalds, State of Florida. Thank you.
Thank you.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.